So when I was a little bit younger and still in my 20s, there were things that really kind of sometimes used to upset me. I'm not talking about just tiny little, things about life here and there. I'm talking about, major issues, things that I really cared about. And one of the things that no one really told me was, there's something that is, for the most part, going on that can explain a lot most of the time, and that's really what I want to share with you. And when you really sort of better understand what's going on, it's kind of, in a way, much ado about nothing. It really is. And if you better understand this, then you can channel your passion, you can channel your frustration in a more healthy way by having a lot more perspective, and that's really kind of what I think the point is. So what you start to realize is what's really going on to a large extent is that everyone is really just kind of pandering to their base, and that's all that's happening. Pretty much every year around this time during the holidays, there always seems to be some degree of noise when it comes to Starbucks. Some people are a little bit upset about, Starbucks not having Merry Christmas written on their holiday cups, and instead it says Happy Holidays or Season's Greetings. And, some people, and I'm really trying to be respectful, but some people really seem to be a little bit upset about this and a little bit offended, and for some reason they seem threatened in some sort of way. In the same sort of way, just kind of the opposite, sometimes people feel a little bit offended around this time where Walmart will use their greeters from time to time in certain parts of the year, and their greeters will say Merry Christmas to people once they kind of enter the store. And people sort of seem to get a little bit upset about this, hey, I don't necessarily celebrate Christmas, or, that's not my faith, and, they really shouldn't say this. So you have people wanting to boycott Starbucks, and then you have some people wanting to boycott Walmart, and, to be really honest, again, I'm trying to be respectful, but people get on social media in particular these days and really kind of voice their opinions, and what's really going on here is nothing other than these two companies protecting their businesses, and that's all that's happening here, folks. So with all due respect, believe in your faith or believe in whatever it is you believe in, but there's really no reason to kind of get all sort of, up in arms about this kind of stuff. So when it comes to Starbucks, their base is made up of what types of people? All types of people from all walks of life who like to drink their coffee, right? So Starbucks has Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, pagans, non-believers, atheists. I'm sure they have pedophiles who go to their stores and enjoy their coffee, right? So what type of customer, what type of base does Starbucks have? It has a base that's made up of a ton of different people. Of course, all different types of people go to Walmart, but all I'm saying is, what is Walmart's core base of customers made of? They are mainly Christians, and that is just the truth, okay? The statistics are just simply there. So it seems to make sense where Walmart is going to say Merry Christmas, at least as far as their greeters are concerned, and Starbucks is not going to say Merry Christmas on their holiday cups. These are simply business decisions. These companies are both smart companies, successful companies. They know what they're doing, and they know how to propel and navigate themselves for the best interests of their companies, and that's really all that's going on here, folks. It's just pandering to your base. Then, of course, you've got CNN and Fox News, right? So now, I've been saying this for a couple of years, and with COVID, okay, it's a little bit different, but the point doesn't really change. So if Donald Trump doesn't shake the hand of a black person, CNN automatically calls him a racist. If Donald Trump does shake the hand of a black person, Fox News wants to, give him the NAACP Image Award or something. Wow, look at him, isn't he great? He's such a humanitarian. I'm not interested in either of these extremes, and hopefully neither are you. Once again, these two news organizations have bases, and these bases are really important to them, and they're really important to their viewership, and they're really important to their advertisers and the advertising rates that they can charge, okay? So that's all that's going on here. Now, we just recently had an election, right? And there's going to be a new administration coming in. I could tell you right now, I'm not the first person to say this, but there's one aspect of all of this that really doesn't get said all that much, and it probably should be said. So over the next 4 years, I'm telling you, you're going to see CNN's viewership, and you're going to see their ratings go down a little bit. CNN's base is not going to necessarily need all of the rhetoric that they've been desiring over the past 4 years, at least not for the next 4 years. And the opposite is going to happen with Fox News. Now, I know the whole thing with, what is Trump going to do? Trump TV, Newsmax. So let's leave that aside, okay? It doesn't take away from the point. And I think you get the point of the distinction between CNN and Fox News. And over the next 4 years, at least, or for the next 4 years, Fox News viewers are going to flock to Fox News more. Fox News is going to see their viewership rise, and they're going to see their advertising rates rise, and they're going to see their general ratings rise, because at least for the next 4 years, Fox's base is going to desire more of the rhetoric that Fox provides. And that's, once again, just truly pandering to their base. These are just business decisions. Whether or not people feel a certain way from their heart, we don't know, but what we do know is that that's all that's really going on here, pandering to one's base. Most people do it, it's just a fact of life. So about a year ago, in November 2019, so Mike Bloomberg, right, that was I don't know what happened with that presidential run, but that very short-lived run. Now, Mike Bloomberg was mayor of New York for 3 terms. He was a proponent of stop and frisk. I'm not here to talk about stop and frisk, but when it came to crime, he was a big proponent of that. And what did he do about a year ago when he was still running for president? He went to the largest black church in Harlem and he apologized, and he said that stop and frisk was a mistake and that he was wrong. What an interesting coincidence, right? He was prepping for a run for president, and all of a sudden he goes to the biggest black church in Harlem, which has a very large base of African American votes that he, in this case, wanted to try and get, right? So he wasn't pandering to his base, but he was pandering to a base that he wanted, and all of a sudden he completely flip-flops and he says that, what he was doing as mayor when he was really sort of, a big proponent of stop and frisk, now all of a sudden he completely reverses course. Interesting coincidence, right? Or, is it a coincidence? Probably not. Take another topic, gun control. Now, this is one, especially those of you who know me, this is a sensitive topic over the past few years with all these mass shootings, these unfortunate mass shootings that we've had, and a lot of this stuff really cuts to the bone. But what's really going on in terms of, have we seen any real reform in terms of gun control, especially the president before our current one, right, which at least we can say was probably more liberal, right? I think that's a fair statement to say. Nothing really substantial has ever kind of happened with gun reform. Why? This is a gun culture, and this is a very pro-gun culture of the United States. And the point I'm trying to make right now is that, are Democrats a little bit more sort of open to gun reform than Republicans are? Probably. That's probably a fair statement, but nothing really happens because both Republicans and Democrats, and this is not my opinion, these are facts, okay? You can look up the statistics. Both Democrats and Republicans are in favor of the Second Amendment and are generally in favor of Second Amendment rights. So if you're a Republican, you are not going to disturb that. And if you're a Democrat, you really have to be careful in the same sort of way anyway, to be very honest with you, because a lot of Democrats, whether, and especially if it's in a primary season, but even if you're running for, election and you've won the primary, or you're running for re-election, a lot of Democrats are in voting blocks where their constituencies that voted them in are, moderate at best, and, they also believe in Second Amendment rights. So you wind up seeing nothing really happen here. People, unfortunately, politicians, unfortunately, all they're doing is pandering to their base. They're not going to disturb that because they know that if they did, they're not going to win. Nothing really winds up changing in that respect. And the last one of these that I wanted to bring up, DACA, or otherwise known as the Dreamers. So this is also a very sensitive and very important topic, regardless of how you feel. But have you ever noticed that one constituency that always seems to be very, very pro-Dreamers no matter what are college and university presidents? Not all, but most of them are. Now, why is this the case? Who is the main customer base for a college or university? Young people, right? So we're talking about Dreamers, we're talking about young people. This fits precisely with the rhetoric that colleges are all about and universities are all about, and that's the truth. And hopefully all of you know that colleges and universities are yet again just another business. It's another industry, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people hate when I talk like that or when others talk like that, but that's the truth. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, so let's just kind of accept that and get over that. But this is precisely what's going on. Now, what is my point here? Am I saying that college presidents and university presidents don't feel strongly about the Dreamers? I'm not saying that. I'm sure some of them are. What's in their heart is really what comes out of their mouth at the end of the day. But do all of them really believe in exactly what they're saying, or do they believe in what they're saying to the extent that they're saying it? I think maybe you need to, sort of question that for yourself and challenge that a little bit for yourself. And I know you're all smart people and you can do that, but you really kind of have to challenge that for a minute, because whether or not it's in their heart, we're not exactly sure. But what we do know is that the Dreamers and the rhetoric that goes with being staunch supporters of the Dreamers really fits nicely with the objectives of what a university and a college is all about. And therefore, that's really what you're hearing, folks. It's once again pandering to a base. So the whole point of this video is when you are really passionate about things and very frustrated sometimes about certain important things, just to make sure that you're putting this in the right perspective. And once you put this in the right perspective and kind of sort of accept reality, then you can better challenge your frustration, your passions, to really make the changes that you want to see happen. So send me your comments and questions, and each week you'll get a chance to win a copy of one of my books. Your choice, either my book on presentation skills or business writing skills.